fact or whatever, or like a statement. And then if you have done it before, you put your finger down. Sounds good?
Yeah.
All right. So put your hands up. You ready? Okay. Never have I ever opted to ask AI for an answer rather than use Google. I put my finger down. I do that. Okay. Oh, I see people. Wow. Good job. And never have I ever copied and pasted a random code snippet, didn't know what it did, and put it in my code base. I did that before AI. Like, that was me on Stack Overflow. So you guys can put your hands down now. The game's over. Thanks for participating. But now that I got a chance to know you, just going to quickly explain who I am. My name is Rizel. I'm a tech lead of open source developer relations at Block. Other things that are random about me, like I'm in law, and also created a community. Yeah. I created a community called BlackRel for like Black developer relations. So if you're in developer relations and Black and want to be in it, let me know. But it'd be popping in there. And then this is just like, I was trying to figure out like, what can I show you guys to show like my personality? And this is like this is the result for. I'm basically on maternity leave, building random things that nobody ever this was me on maternity leave, building things that nobody ever really wants. Like, who want a UI that interacts with your emotion or reacts to it? But that's just me. But anyways, back to the confession you guys made about basically using AI over traditional search. You're actually not alone. There's a lot of studies, and one recent study I found said that 55% of developers now prefer AI over traditional search in the US. But in the UK, it's even higher. It's about 62%. And with this in mind, many have predicted that AI agents are going to become our main interface. For example, at the Qualcomm conference called Snapdragon Insiders, one of the speakers kind of like had on the screen like AI is the new UI. And then I don't know if you all are familiar with Rachel Neighbors. I'm a big fan of their work. They have a keynote where they predict the potential debt of the browser. And they're basically saying that instead of optimizing for Google search, we'll also have to optimize for AI tools and LLMs. Now, I do think that's cool, but let's take a look at these like agentic interfaces for a second, right? It's all just black and white chat. Every AI tool looks the same. And then, sometimes you have like the AI agent that's a terminal. And to me, I love AI agents, but if this becomes our main interface, I feel like that's kind of sad. Like just black and white, plain text, like boo. I don't know if y'all remember back in the day, yeah, right? The internet was really fun when I was young. Like I was like sneaking out of my room to go play on IMVU. I don't know if you guys know that, like make my avatar and everything. I thought I was talking to kids. Looking back, they were probably grown adults. But I will be on all of these random sites, everythinggirl.com, Millsberry, MySpace, of course, making my layouts. And like the internet was just like colorful and loud and messy. And I'm thinking if agents become our primary interface, we might lose that joy and interactivity of the internet. And like our kids won't even get to really experience that. Like, what is their life? Just going to be on YouTube and then like typing into ChatGPT? That kind of sucks. But here's where I want to bring some hope back into the room. There's this new technology called MCP-UI, which adds like a UI interactive component on top of MCP. But I'm going to quickly just go over what MCP is for folks if they're like, I'm not really familiar with MCP at all. Wait, also, has anybody here heard of MCP-UI or used it? Nobody? Okay, a few people. Okay, cool. I'm actually teaching you guys something new. Perfect. All right, so for MCP itself, that stands for Model Context Protocol. And there is the argument of people saying like, oh, that's just an API. I respectfully disagree, I guess. I think it's a little bit more than an API. In fact, it's the protocol, right? So think of things like HTTP and FTP. MCP is basically a shared agreement that lets all AI agents or AI agents that like adhere to that protocol speak the same language and be able to communicate with your everyday application. It really brings like a standardization. So for each AI agent, you're not like creating a new custom integration. And you might be like, okay, maybe you've heard people say that, or you're like, so what? Listen, I've experienced using an AI agent pre-MCP, and it was like a little bit annoying. So I work at Block. Block is the company that made like Cash App and Tidal and Afterpay and Square. But we also internally made an AI agent called Booth. And we were using this internally because our teams all functionalized. And so you guys might not know what functionalized is, but basically we were all in these separate engineering teams, like Cash App had his own engineering team and Square and Tidal. And then our company was like, you know what, let's just put them all under one. And that created a lot of friction for us. We were like, I do things this way. One engineering team does things another way. So one engineer, like, I'm gonna make an AI agent to kind of automate a lot of these workflows for us. And it was cool. It was awesome. Except when we wanted to actually integrate it into things like Jira or GitHub or HubSpot, we had to like make these custom solutions. It was really annoying. You had to know Python because that's the only way you could integrate it. And it kind of took away the fact that like this is automating everything because it kind of stopped us in our track. So our team at Block was like, yo, what if we like had like some kind of standard? So we went over to our pals at Anthropic and we were like, yo, we want to like have a standard or something like that for AI agents. And they were like, bet, we're actually already working on that. We're like, oh, great. So we got to like contribute to work they already had in progress. And then just the components of what MCP or Model Context Protocol is, before I like dive into MCP-UI. So we have the MCP client, and that is your AI agent. That could be Cursor, that could be Claude Code, that could be VS Code or Goose, which is what my company made. And it's essentially where you're typing in your natural language request. And then you have the MCP server. And that's what's connecting your MCP client to those external applications. Perhaps it's like Playwright or Blender or Chrome developer tools. And within each MCP server, there's different like tools or functions. So let's say you wanted to connect your MCP, or you had a Google Drive MCP server. The different tools and function it might have is like create your document or leave a comment on a document and so on and so forth. And then another thing that MCP servers do, I don't know, good to see that pretty well, I think. I was going to say, I don't know how well you can see it, but I'll zoom in just a bit more, is they advertise their tools to the LLM so that the LLM knows like, oh, this is what Rizel wants. If I said, hey, I want to know what is on my to-do list, the LLM that's connected within the MCP client is going to look at this description list or this advertisement and be like, okay, she wants to know what's on her list. She probably doesn't want to do the adding into view item. I'll probably pick the show all to view items tool. And then the other part of it, of course, is the ability to just execute on those tool calls. All right, so our flow for MCP servers, before I go into the MCP-UI part, is you have the user, they make a prompt in the MCP client. The MCP client's like, oh no, I have no clue what to do. And it talks with the LLM. The LLM creates an entire plan for everything. And then it connects to or chooses the MCP server and tools it needs to use. It does all the execution behind the scenes and returns that back to the user. All right, so I'm going to do a quick demo of the MCP working. I'm going to use the Chrome developer tools, MCP server. This may be slow on this slide, but I was trying it. It was a little bit slow, but that's okay. So I'm going to open up Google and Command F1. They're going to see my notes, but that's okay. All right, so we have Goose here, and I'm going to tell Goose I already have the Chrome developer tools extension in it, right? Or in Goose's ecosystem, we call MCP servers extensions because they extend the capability of. So I already have that enabled, and I'm going to tell Goose to use the Chrome developer tools extension, navigate to this website, log in as this particular user, and measure how slow the site talks. So that's going to happen. It might take a bit. It's going to try to like navigate to the page URL, et cetera, et cetera. And we can let that happen in the background. As you see, this is really powerful, that it could do all of this. But again, it's this plain black and white text that's not really interactive and engaging and all that. So while this happens behind the scenes, for time's sake, I'm going to go into MCP-UI itself. So let's add that, or let's talk about adding that interactive UI components for MCP. The folks who made MCP-UI, one of them, he worked at Shopify. So it's going through the process right now. So a lot of the early examples of MCP-UI have to do with like shopping and e-commerce. They're calling it like agentic commerce. So there's one example or one option of if you were going to ask like, oh, I want to buy this shirt, you'll get back a price, the description of the shirt and all that. But that's like boring. Who wants to shop and then not seeing what they're shopping for? I would never want to do that. Like, I want to see what the blue shirt looks like. Come on, right? So what they've implemented is basically this layer of interactive components that you could put in. So you could say, I want to buy some shirt from Better Swag, and it'll show you the literal shirt. It'll also allow you to interact with it and press like add to cart and more. And just showing you a couple of code snippets just so you can understand like how it's working behind the scenes. Without MCP-UI, you might just have this array and then it will say like, oh, I'm going to return some text that says like, if you said like, oh, what's the weather? It'll return some text that says, oh, in Boston it's 65 degrees and sunny. I really don't think it is. I think it's raining right now, but just as an example. And then for MCP-UI, how it will work is you would import this library called Create UI resource from MCP-UI server. And you could still have the text as well, but what you would want is to maybe say type raw HTML and put in the HTML string. There's also other options where you can basically use an iframe to pull in like an external URL from a site that you already have, or use React on element. I just used HTML because it will be more obvious. And then maybe you're looking at this example and you're like, well, it's all hard coded. You would, of course, to make it dynamic, do an actual call saying like get weather from this particular city, and you can use templated strings. Same example here for using MCP-UI. You do those templated strings within the HTML. Anyone lost? Okay. Oh, go. I thought you were raising your hand like, yeah, I'm lost. So you did a thumbs up. All right. And the results would look like this. My teammate made like an MCP-UI for open weather, and it basically like returned like this cute little thing within his MCP clients. All right, let me give you guys an example that might resonate with you guys a little bit more than shopping or than looking at the weather. Because for me, I'm like, I'll just go on weather.com. I'm not going to ask like Goose, what's the weather? For me, I am a new tech lead, right? So after I came up from maternity leave, now I'm a tech lead, and man, it's way more work than I expected it to be. I did not know I had to care about other people's work and feelings. I'm like, oh my goodness, there's a lot of feelings. But with that, part of that is I have to like track like my team's goals and my work. So my manager is going to be like, Rizel, we need to have like a bunch of meetups so I can determine like how much meetups we have, etc. And what we used to use before to help track our work was Asana. I really liked it because it has all these colors and it's really easy to be like, oh my gosh, Rizel's doing a panel, H is doing a blog, Tanya's getting blue swag for the team. Like it was very easy for me to visualize. But then our company said, we're going to move to GitHub Project. And I like GitHub, but I'm not a big fan of GitHub Project. I cannot see anything. And it's gotten to the point where I think my team hates it too, because they're barely using it. They barely put in like what they're working on. I have no clue. My manager's like, where's everyone at? I'm like messaging everybody. I'm like, did you finish that? Yeah, I have no clue. So I was like, maybe I can make like an MCP server for this where I can like just ask you. It's like, hey, who has the lightest workload? What have people completed? And maybe I can make it a bit visual. So I'm going to show you guys what I made. Oh, and behind the scenes, Goose was able to do the performance analysis. I just didn't want to waste time with that as we have 10 minutes left. But it came back with saying like, let's see, this extremely slow login processing, delayed page transitions and stuff like that. So it's basically using Chrome developer tools under the hood to help me. And I can like follow up and say like, help me fix some of these bugs. But we're not doing that anymore. We're moving on to my GitHub calendar that I've created. So I'm going to ask it to, and you guys are going to see my I gotta see my notes. I need my notes real fast. Don't judge me. Yeah, this is the prompt I want to do. All right. So I'm going to ask Goose to like show me my team's project calendar. And what should happen is it should literally render a calendar within like this iframe for me. And I've also made it a bit interactive. So let's just give it some time. It's working behind the scenes. It's talking to the LLM like, what should I do? I don't know what to do. You know? Let's see. All right, here we go. Yeah. So, right? Way better than that GitHub project board we were looking at. I'm not like roasting them or anything. I love GitHub. It's just not great. Yeah. This is a little cut off, but like I can fix that in the future. But this allows me to be like, oh, cool. Like Ian is basically one of the only people putting his work. But I don't know if this is what I want. I also have like these interactive buttons here where I can say like, let's like analyze the workload that the like team workload distribution. And it should come back to me with like, oh, here's who's doing like more work or less. And then I'll be able to be like, oh, this person, since they have a little bit less work, I can assign them more. So just waiting for that to come in. Yeah. So you can see here, like this is, it's kind of inaccurate since no one's putting their work in, but these are who are considered like people with light workloads and then people with heavier workloads. And it comes back with like some key findings for me. So that to me was a more impactful use of MCP-UI that I can use in my day-to-day rather than like shopping. All right, let me go back. Oh, I don't know. I think this command F1. Okay. We're almost done and I'll open up for questions. And I'll drag it over there. All right. So I will just quickly end by saying like what I showed you today were really simple examples of being able to buy a shirt or tell me the weather, or track my team's path. But with plain text, that intent that you have really stays flat. And with MCP-UI, it gives it a bit more dimension and transforms it into an interface of something that you can click and explore and act on. And the cool thing about MCP-UI is it's really still evolving. It's in a really early stages, open source. So that gives us, if you guys are interested in it, the ability to really shape the direction of where it's going. That way, to me, like the way I'm thinking of it is like the future of user interfaces is you or us all together. And that's it. If people have questions, I have submitted. Again, yes, I hope that's my answer. The other yeah, I should have had a little QR code. But this website's pretty easy. MCPUI.dev has like all of their documentation around MCPUI. For MCP itself, I think it is. I don't remember. I'm going to Google. Sorry. Well, at least I still use it. Or no, I should have asked Goose, right? I'm not in the future. The documentation for Model Context Protocol itself, if you want to know about that, is modelcontextprotocol.io. And of course, to plug my company's client, you can go to blogs.github.io/Goose. Oh, I thought you guys were singing this whole time. That's very awkward. Thank you. Okay, sorry. Let's roll this over. MCPUI.dev. Cool. Modelcontextprotocol.io. And then the other one, I'll tweet it out or something like that so you guys can access it very quickly. And then the other one is blog.github.io/Goose. You could download the MCP client. And we also just have like a really good blog on like different like things about MCP-UI and just other things about like agents in general, like sub agents and all that. Gets really technical. Anybody else? Yeah. Why other than that, do you think yeah, believe that is yeah, that's a really good point. I actually didn't even think of it from that perspective, but it does add a really good storytelling aspect. Um, and dimension beyond just like getting that text back and like, oh, the AI agent can do things to me. It's like you can also like interact that way and I don't know, give more flavors. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. You like is that something you like? Oh, I have not played with AGUI before, but I'll put it on my list. You play with it? You like it? Right, after that. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah. But the share with you do I so far I've had it just be generated on the fly each time, but I'm hoping they continue to improve on that. Good question. That way you could I told you that yeah, I don't know. I don't think it supports. Wait, how does GSAP work? I've never used it. Is it like a framework? Oh, well, not luckily, so that is they use that. Like, yeah. I mean, like a lot. Oh, yes. Yeah. So I'm not going to I don't know if they have that yet. I know they have support for like HTML, React, and web components, but I don't know like how deep the support for GSAP is. But like since it's open source, you can like open an issue. I'm gonna maybe I'll just open the issue. I don't know. Yeah. I'll say I can make it better, but I'll say let's create support for GSAP. All right, I think I'm nearing like the end. And that's it for me. If you guys have more questions, we can chat outside.